was sitting in my first ayahuasca ceremony. What I learned was my memories and emotional trauma was being stored in my body.
You don't lead from your position, you lead from your condition. If you have all these things pent up within you, you wonder why you have a toxic culture within your business.
Ability to focus in on one thing and compartmentalize cognitively doesn't mean that we're able to compartmentalize what's going on in the subconscious mind. I express until I find it. So what I did, I started blogging at the beginning of the year. I go, I'm gonna write a blog every week on what I'm interested in. Just started expressing myself. It's never been easier to have a successful business. It's also never been easier to be distracted. Welcome to the Full Stack Podcast. I'm Mike Bledsoe. The world is changing faster than ever. The systems are collapsing, the rules are being rewritten, and certainty is disappearing. The question isn't how do we survive it? It's who do we become through it? This is your field guide for living the full stack life. Integrated, adaptive, and sovereign by design. Join the movement and gain free access to the Full Stack School community at bledsoe.life. This isn't the end of an era. It's the rise of a new kind of individual. You're not alone. You're early. Stay stacked. If this episode resonates, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend.
All right, East Coast to West Coast connection. Mike, how you living?
I'm living really well out here, hanging out in the mountains.
I know it's early morning for you, mid-afternoon for me. I spent the morning with the wife, daughter, and then got punched in the face a couple times at Muay Thai. Not a bad way to start our day. How do you usually start your day? How do you get your day going?
I have a very consistent routine and it can last up to 2 hours, but it could also last 5 minutes. And so I think a lot of people I know I used to get caught up on like, if I can't do the whole routine or I can't do the whole workout, I won't even start it. And so I wake up, I drink a glass of water with some minerals in it. And then I, uh, basically like I have like a ball and a foam roller, and I use this ball and I massage out my diaphragm, so I breathe well the rest of the day. It keeps the nervous system nice and chill, and then I stretch, and then I move into some qigong, and then I move into a workout. And if I do everything from like stretching to workout, then that'll be 2 hours. This morning I got through all I did was my stretching. I drank my water, I did my stretching, and hanging out with some friends this morning. So I didn't do the full thing, but when I get off of this podcast, I'll then, do my qigong and lift my weights. Yeah. That's the consistent morning routine. It's a moving meditation. So even when I'm lifting weights, like a lot of what I'm doing is in silence, and I'm focused on my breath and watching my thoughts as I breathe.
Yeah, I know we focus a lot here on the podcast: business and sovereignty, health and vitality, relationships and presence, purpose and alignment. And all four are important. When I wake up, that health and vitality top of mind for me. It's the first thing I focus on because it's the vehicle that takes me through everything else. It's the vehicle that takes me throughout the day. And I have a cup of water by my bed, and I wake up, and the thought process is, it's been 8 hours since I last consumed some water, so I might be overdue. I might want to hydrate
Yep.
and lubricate this thing in order to attack life, because at the end of the day, I found when I'm dehydrated, my runs crap, shit, they're not good. My workouts lack. So it's almost, I call water the nectar of the earth. It's something I need to consume in order to continue to operate at a high level. But I wanted to get an update in these four areas. I figure health and vitality is the place to start with our morning routines. But beyond that, how is health and vitality currently? Is it at its peak? Is it at like a 7 out of 10, or are you trying to adjust some things in there?
I'd say I like that 7 out of 10. People tend to like gravitate towards the number seven whenever you say 0 out of 10, they're like seven. So I almost don't like to say that. I'm probably closer to an 8 actually. And so as far as like my ability to like lift weights and go heavy, I would say I'm probably at like a 5 or a 6, but I'm 43. My joints feel 100% good right now. I have zero pain in my body at all, and I can go hit it hard. And right now I can hit it hard like 2-3 days a week and without getting too stiff. And so that's another thing that I've learned as I've gotten older is stiffness, if you're experiencing stiffness for more than a day, that's going to lead to an injury, and that's because you start compensating your movement. And so it's
Mm,
something that's not recognized. I didn't really recognize that until I was in my mid 30s. And then I go, oh, I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't need to be sore for, if I'm sore 48 hours later, I did too much. So yeah, I would say I'm like fitness. I'm like a 5 or 6, but out of like wellness and health, I'm at like a 9.
yeah. I'm making that transition because I used to be weightlifting, bodybuilding. My friends were bodybuilders. I first worked out at Powerhouse with Charles Tank Dixon when he was competing in Mr. Olympia. I did a leg workout with that man. Like, full transparency to the audience. Like, you ever work out with somebody, you get lightheaded, you got to run to the bathroom and shit. Like, it was that rough of a workout.
I've thrown
Those
up. I don't know
days,
if I've had to take a shit.
dog, it was a leg workout, and it was one of those where I'm like, okay, yeah, the nausea came. I was holding down the throw up, and then like, you okay? I'm like, no, bro, I got to go to the bathroom. But
Yeah,
I came out and I finished the workout. That's the key. I finished the workout. But
that's the important part. Yeah.
those days are behind me, to be honest. I am more focused on movement. Something about having a daughter made me realize I had to adjust my time. I'm in my mid to upper 30s now. I'm 37, so I realized waking up and hearing the cracks of the body is not something to brag about. So when I do go to the gym and lift, I'm doing more Olympic style movements. I'm doing cleans, jerks, one handed jerks. I still bench here and there, push ups, jump rope, rowers. I'll spend the first 15, 20 minutes stretching, activating the body, activating the core, a lot of glute bridges, a lot of glute work in my groin and hips, and just kind of treating my body really as a car. Warm it up, get let
Yeah.
the engine run for a little bit and then go. And the intensity is pretty high, but the weights are not as high as they used to be. And then mixing that with the martial art and running, I've slimmed down a lot. I've lost a little bit of muscle, but I feel the most effective and balanced I've ever been. I'd say like my health and vitality is probably at an 8 or 9, because I could run all out for half a mile. I could run consistently for over 2 miles. I have a number of options if a punch is thrown my way, and I could still put enough
Hmm.
weight up that is good. So that's been my settle so far. I'll let you know how it keeps going, man.
Yeah. Let me know. Let me know. I love Muay Thai. That's I haven't done that in a number of years. Probably 3 years since I've had my last session. But dude, that's so much fun.
Yeah,
Except for the leg
it is.
kicks. Those aren't fun. But
Well, it's immediate feedback. I was watching too much Ben Whitaker. He's a boxer, uh, a European boxer, and he has a famous fight clips all over YouTube of him like ducking and dodging. And I'm at Muay Thai class. I'm sparring my coach, and I'm thinking I'm Ben Whitaker. I duck a hook, caught a knee to the face,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
recognize, okay, you can't duck like that. You could do it in boxing, but in Muay Thai you have to watch out
Not
for
in
the legs.
kickboxing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not in kickboxing. Yeah.
BJJ will be next, but that will be my stack, if you would, of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, so I can have confidence on striking. And I think 80 to 90% of confrontations and fights end up on the ground anyway, so I should know what I'm doing on the ground as well. But how does the health and vitality feed business and sovereignty? Let's switch over to that area and see how that's kind of going hand in hand for you right now.
You know, I remember it was actually 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was 2015. I was sitting in my first ayahuasca ceremony in Peru. And you know what ayahuasca is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think everyone kind of has an idea what that is at this point. Um, but I went and did it because I had been eating mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms, for about 2 years, because I discovered that eating these mushrooms were giving me a lot of insights into my own psyche. I was making improvements in my life based on the insights I was getting, and that doesn't happen for everybody, by the way. I don't want to put out a blanket. People are like, "Oh, I should go eat mushrooms now." There's a good way to do it. But I remember when the difference with ayahuasca, one of the things that makes it so much it's considered a more powerful psychedelic because it's very physical.
Mm.
And I I was purging a lot. I was vomiting a lot in my first ceremony. I was terrified. It was like one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, in fact.
Oh man.
But what I learned was that the is that my memories and emotional trauma was being stored in my body, and I actually got to witness this uh, these stored memories come out, and I got to like I get to renegotiate the the scene from my childhood, and then I got to and then I threw it up into a bucket. It went from like this I hate vomiting to wow, this is a celebration. I let what made that mean go, and it's no longer going to dictate how I live my life moving forward. And that was the first step that I ever took in recognizing the intelligence of the body.
Huh.
And I I up until that point, like I ate food for fuel. I thought about the body as like you were saying, like a kind of like a battery with that my brain set on, or a vehicle. I would refer to like, yeah, it's like I'm driving an F1 car or whatever. And what I started now, like my frame around my body is holding 95% of the intelligence of who I am and how I show up. And so if I ignore my body and I only stay in my head, which if someone
Mm-hmm.
wakes up and they go straight to the laptop or open up their phone, they're automatically in their head, which is going to comprise of less than 5% of their total intelligence. And I go, wow, I'm actually bringing my entire body to this conversation right now. I'm bringing my entire body to solve every single problem that that comes up in business. I'm bringing my body to everything. My breath matters. All of this stuff, and so I no longer think about associated intelligence with the brain. It's like it's my full body and energetic system outside of my body. And so when I'm thinking about how I bring this to business, it would be ridiculous to me at this point, knowing what I know now. And so I know that had I heard someone describe this prior to some of the experiences I've had, it would seem like a mystery, like, oh,
Mm.
tapping into your body's intelligence. What what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Right?
Wait. What?
And and so and now it seems incredibly obvious. And so this is where like I really like to demystify things, is because it was a mystery at one point and people are like, you can't prove this or this or this. I'm like, yeah, just experience it and it becomes obvious. Like it's like, can you can you recreate the knowledge and wisdom of Newton to prove that gravity exists? And you go, no, it's fucking obvious. It's just right here all the time and it's holding me down to the planet. So that's how obvious that is oh, this is the level of intelligence that's in the body. And if I ignore it, I'm basically just allowing myself to be dumber.
Yeah. Man. No. 100%. But the body keeps the score, right? And and just getting poured into. I was at a leadership conference, and obviously it was all about leadership. And one of the speakers, powerful saying, I don't know where they got it from. They said it wasn't theirs, but I'm taking it for today. And they said, you don't lead from your position, you lead from your condition. And if you have all these things pent up within you, you wonder why you have a toxic culture within your business, because you haven't healed and unraveled the toxicity within your body, within your condition in yourself. And you wake up with that anxiety, and then you express that anxiety onto your assistant, onto your team, onto your VAs, and they perpetuate that anxiety in your business, and you wonder why your numbers don't hit your goals. So I resonate with that wholeheartedly, which is where I've been working on my regulation because I've picked up on the rush. I've picked up on the anxiety that I carry from the morning into the afternoon. And my
Mm,
biggest practice when it comes to my body and to my health is um, incorporating more of a grounding practice before I sit down to do work. getting my body regulated, sitting down to slow my heart rate down. I have the Whoop, so I check on what is my heart rate at, and it shouldn't be chilling at 88. Like that's so come on, dog.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
shouldn't do that.
88, 88's not chilling.
No.
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, the from a leadership perspective, right? You've walked in. You've had like you ever been in a room where like some one person walks in, and then the nervous system of everybody in the room chills out. Everyone relaxes.
Yes. Yes. I
Yeah,
know this
yeah,
concept. Yeah.
yeah. And then and then you've had the experience of one person walking in the room and then like amping up the whole room, where
Yup.
the whole room kind of gets on edge, right? And so, I mean, that's how important it is you,
Hmm.
you can, I have one friend who, I like to think of myself as a calming presence, and people have said that, but I have a friend that I would, anytime he's in my space, like he's always welcome in my home. Like if he wanted to be a permanent roommate rent free, like we would just put him up, because when he's around, his nervous system is even more settled than mine. And so it brings me down, like in a good way, like brings me down into my more comfortable in my own body. And it just smooths anything that could be a conflict just kind of gets smoothed out and creates harmony. So yeah, that it can, it's just so powerful. We were dealing with a mechanic this week for our RV going before we go into Burning Man. And you would say, my friend would get on the phone with him and say three words, and this guy would go off on something like, he's like, "Hey, when do you think this could be repaired by?" And he goes, "I work," and the guy starts off with like, "I work 6 days a week," and starts talking about how hard his job is, and it's like no one cares about like this is the difference between showing up with your trauma and drama in business
Yeah.
and being clean, right? Because that guy who's complaining to his customers, he doesn't even know he's doing it. It's an automatic response. He's not even hearing what, my friend Eben has to say. He's just going off on his preconditioned complaint that he's been doing
Yeah.
since he was a little kid. And so, and has no idea that it's impacting his business. And this is like a very obvious thing to be stating. It's easy to see from the outside, but it's good to look at extreme cases and then go, well,
Hmm.
how am I doing that? Like, how am I showing up? Is my nervous system? Am I chill when I walk into a room, or if quote unquote shit hits the fan? Am I chill, or am I like, do I lose track of everything and focus in on one thing?
Have you ever heard of the grandfather clock condition? Like a grandfather clock store where
Yeah,
the
yeah,
biggest grandfather clock, the swinging of the pendulum and the ticking will all synchronize to the dominant one.
yeah. To the biggest one.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
which I mean, I think that's true to our lives as well, and everything we're talking about regulating the nervous system, and this transitions perfectly into that other area of our life of our relationships and our presence. Because speaking of chilling at 88, having a rough day at work, my wife has even mentioned, she's like, you seem on edge today, and like my home will feel it, and that will perpetuate into my family, and where I'm thinking, okay, I just want to leave work at work. It's like, no, bro, you're not leaving work at work. You think you can compartmentalize, but it's bleeding into other areas of life because you still need to take you with you. And that's where that importance of me working on grounding myself, and I say working because this is an actual process. I'm being transparent about this. I am working through this right now of grounding myself and just being more of that steady rock throughout the day. You still absorb and you still feel all the feels, right? But you're sensitive to it. You want to be sensitive to the feels. But it's also and it's another concept I heard from the leadership conference that they said, absorbing, and back to Muay Thai, and when you're boxing, when a punch comes, you don't have to just slip it. You can catch it, you can parry, you could absorb the punch in different ways. And I'm looking at my life now of like, okay, I don't have to exhaust myself, because you'll get very tired in a fight if you try and dodge every punch because you're constantly
right,
moving. But if you
right.
can learn how to parry, absorb, and deflect, you're absorbing the punches in a strategic way that conserves your energy. So that's where the
Yeah.
process of me leaning into my relationships and being more foundational has been helpful in building that progress.
Yeah, I think Bruce Lee said it best, which is be like water.
Yeah.
I think when you do jujitsu, you'll likely I've done a lot of jujitsu. Um, you'll get that even more so. And Muay Thai can be a very forceful style. Jiu-jitsu, you have to start becoming more like water. But I think you bring up a really good point, which kind of ties in what we were talking about previously, which is I think as men, the way our brains are built is we have fewer left right brain hemisphere connections than women, just biologically. That's the case. And so as men, we're very good at focusing in on one thing. Right? We can go back if we look at this as like evolutionary psychology. The men would go out and hunt. We focus in on we're going to go get that one animal, or we got to go build this thing, or whatever it is. We're hyper focused. We can compartmentalize, right? There's this idea of
Hmm.
because we can focus in on one thing. Women have greater connections between their left and right brain hemispheres, which puts them much more in touch with what's happening emotionally and communally, and they're able to track more things happening at once. So their ability to cognitively compartmentalize is not as great as men's, and their ability to track more things at once is much greater than ours. So they have an intelligence that we don't have, and we have an intelligence that they don't have. Um, and this ability to focus in on one thing and compartmentalize cognitively doesn't mean that we're able to compartmentalize what's going on in the subconscious mind. So we can compartmentalize the 5%, but we can't compartmentalize the 95%. And we tell ourselves this story that we can actually compartmentalize what's happening emotionally, but that's not true at all. And so, like you were saying, is no matter how well you may be able to go into your work and you may be able to focus and deliver and perform. I'm a good performer, and when I'm in my job, I can definitely I can hit that gear too. Like I'm having a bad a conversation that's not going well with my wife, and then I get into a coaching session with a client. And I'm like, I got to sever that in that moment, but it's still in there. And so, um, and then your bad day at work turns into a poor relationship with your wife that night, which turns into a bad night of sleep, makes it which means you don't show up for work as well the next day, and it can become a vicious cycle. And so it's good to recognize that this idea of compartmentalization is is it only works for so long, and we're not as good at it as we believe that we are, because it'll end up destroying everything at some point. And so
Hmm.
the ability to be integrated emotionally throughout your entire day and be able to like basically I'm experiencing this emotion, and then I'm also able to uh, transmute that emotion into something else. Like if I'm experiencing a little bit of sadness, how do I transmute that into joy? How do I fully experience the sadness so that we can move into joy more quickly? And so
Mm.
that's a whole nother skill of like learning how to completely that's the absorbing it, right? That's the absorbing it is like, oh, I'm feeling angry right now. Oh, I need to like allow myself to feel that anger. I have authority over it, so I'm not turning into a 4-year-old with a temper tantrum in the office, but I'm like, whoa, what's going on there? Okay, now I'm experiencing it. Now I get to move through it, and now I'm on the other side of it. But what most people do is they feel that anger and they suppress it, and then they get home, and
Hmm.
maybe it's 2 weeks of suppressing this anger, and now they blow up at their kids or their wife, and it's like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like I think we all are aware of like those outbursts that we've had. I don't have them anymore. Like it's I used to have them much more frequently. I'd say man, maybe I've had one or two in the last year, and they were small. They were like really they weren't crazy. So
Hmm.
there's a way of it's a skill of being able to be with your emotions.
Yeah. One thing I always like to say when I'm saying goodbye to people, and they say to me too, the slang is like, "Man, all right, hold it down, hold it down." And I have this mental vision of like, you ever take a beach ball in the pool, and you push it underwater and you try
Oh
to
yeah.
hold it down. The deeper you hold it, the longer you hold it, the more it shoots up. So when people are like, "All right, Ted, hold it down," I say, "No, I'm gonna let it up. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna let it
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not gonna do me any good holding it down because I know where I'm going. I know what I'm trying to do, and that leads in that fourth section, that purpose and alignment of where we're driving for, and looking at our north star and what I'm trying to do for my family, what I'm trying to build through my businesses and the health and the vitality that gets me out of bed. Is I understand the drive of connecting men in pursuit of their potential, really the heartstrings I feel of not only meeting more people, having conversations like this, and meeting people from all over the world. I'm thankful that my job and my work has been able to connect me in rooms with authors of books that I've read that I get to now see in person, and I get that energetic exchange, right? And I want to share those lessons that have drastically improved the quality of my life with other guys, because there's so many men, at least for my mission and my drive, I see so many men looking for that next step, looking for that answer. And in order for me to be effective in communicating and connecting, I need to do the work. I need to experience it. I need to be a student of the very product that I share. So that's where the purpose and the alignment, the North Star, keeps me waking up in the morning, drinking the water, doing the Muay Thai and everything, because it's like, hey, if I want to get there, I need to take care of the vehicle and look out for the potholes and all the distractions along the way. Because, man, and this is probably a topic for another podcast, we are under attack. Our attention, our focus, our mission is under attack by countless distractions. And I'm playing defense, and I'm also playing offense because I'm not trying to play that game.
Alex Hormozy made a tweet recently, which was, um, "It's never been easier to have a successful business. It's also never been easier to be distracted." And so, what we have at our fingertips as humans in 2025 is we have the most powerful tools in human history. And you can either become a consumer or a creator. And so I really am vigilant about how much I consume and what I consume. And because I have a, I use an app on my phone called Opal, and I limit the amount of time I can spend on social media in a given day,
Mm.
and it blocks it after that amount of time is set.
What's the
It's really
time limit?
trained me. I can set it wherever I want. You can set work hours. You can set it to not allow you in during certain hours. You can set it for a time limit. I use a combination of the two. There's just certain hours throughout the week on certain days where, like, between 6 and 9 a.m. it's locked up, and then after 45 minutes I'm not on anymore, and so it
Okay.
keeps you from doing the doom scroll.
Yeah.
And
I was asking for myself because I selfishly need that.
yeah, yeah, check out, it's $100 a year for the app. I have an affiliate code to get you some type of discount on it. I can share that with you. We can drop that in the show notes as well. Um, but there's, yeah, it was really, really powerful that, Alex Hormozy said that. And then that brings me to another person I love to follow, Naval Ravikant. I don't know if you know who Naval is.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, he's a G in the investor space. Like, he's like the investor philosopher. And so, he basically says, read old books, and um, way less distraction there. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
getting on social media and reading things, read books. And so, yeah, I have a few things that I use in order to keep myself from being distracted. Because, yeah, it's so easy, but it's also so easy to fucking start a business. You used to start a business, you had to create a physical product,
Yeah.
and then you had to like stand out on the town square and like, hey, I got this thing that I made. And now it's literally, I got a piece of glass in my pocket. I could record the entire course on there. I could start a school. I could, we're meeting on Like, look, okay, my laptop is 2,000 bucks. My microphone is 400 bucks. My iPhone's 1,000 bucks. For less than $5,000, I have like the top notch technology necessary to make unlimited amounts of money. That's all you need. I don't need to go get leather from a cow to make some boots. I don't need all these different things. It's everything's digital, and you don't the barrier to entry to start a business. Like when I was running CrossFit gyms, the barrier to entry, we were like, damn, barrier to entry to start a gym is so low because CrossFit gym equipment is so basic. So for like 60 to $100,000, you could start a gym. And we thought that was that barrier to entry to open a business. To open a restaurant, you need, a basic restaurant, 400K, probably $1 million.
Yeah.
To start a business online that's mostly profit, you need probably like you need a phone. You don't even need the laptop. You don't need the microphone. You need a phone. And you can get a phone on Amazon for fucking $300 and it'll give you everything you need. That's what's available to us. You could also pick up that phone and spend the day doom scrolling and playing video games.
I think when you know where you're going, you know when to distract. You know what's for you and not what's not for you. Where like I heard identity is one of the secrets of unlocking your quote unquote your discipline. Because like, hey, if you're an athlete, I'm not going to the party tonight because I got a race tomorrow, right? It's the clarity of vision gives the clarity of action, which is helps you avoid the distraction. And I did mean to rhyme right there. That was on purpose, everybody.
I want to say one more other thing. One thing I do is I express until I find it is a saying I use, and that means that like earlier this year I go, oh, there's a new project that's coming. I can feel it, but I don't have a name for it. I don't know exactly what I'm delivering. I don't. There was a lot of question marks, and what most people do is they sit and they think about it and they never get started. And so what I did, I started blogging at the beginning of the year. I go, I'm going to write a blog every week on what I'm interested in. And after a few months of blogging, I started getting clearer and clearer and clearer, and we got the full stack.
Yeah.
I got clear enough to go, okay, I just started expressing myself and spending 6 to 10 hours a week writing a blog. And so being in that mode of creation, even if I don't know what the thing is that I'm creating, I'm creating and I'm putting it out. So my job is to spend more time creating than consuming.
I love that. And that's where the limiting consumption comes into play because you don't want that to mess up your psyche, right?
You got to replace it. You can't just be like, I'm going to consume less. It's like, no, no, I got to replace my consumption with creation.
Yeah.
I'm going to fill
I
that
love that.
time with the opposite.
So that leads perfectly into what are you tracking? What are you stacking?
I'm tracking for um, this year's word is leverage. I'm tracking for what is creating the greatest results with the least amount of input when it comes to business. And uh, that's really what I'm looking at in every area of my life is how do I reduce the effort and maximize the output. So same with my health, same with my relationships. And then because if I can achieve that across all domains, then then I can do more. Then we get into the stacking. So like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if I got leverage here, here, and here, that means I have more time, and then I get to do it, pick the next high leverage thing, and now we get compounding results instead of linear results. We're so used to linear, but when we stack the right leverage things, we compound, and life then becomes you have quantum leaps instead of
Mm.
linear gains.
That's where the eighth wonder of the world, the compounding interest starts to come into play, and people think, "Oh man, how do you do that? You do this small thing with big results. Small hinges swing big doors."
Mhm.
And
Mhm. How
that's
about
how you
you?
go from A to B. Right now,
What are you tracking?
I'm tracking my training for High Rocks race. I'm tracking my runs and my workouts, um, and that's to effectively complete a High Rocks race on Halloween in Atlanta, and that's going to help stack what I identify, not just the vehicle, but the overall brand. Again, being the product of my product. I don't lean into the physicality of what I do in life enough. I focus on business and my time management, but I really don't lean on the fact that I get after it too. So leaning into tracking all that improves my health, improves my cardiovascular health, which is really the underlining reason for me doing this, wanting to get my resting heart rate lower. Currently at about like 68, and I'm like, I'm not cool with that. I'm 37 years old. I shouldn't have a resting heart rate at
Is
68
that
all
your
the time.
resting heart rate at while you sleep?
Yeah, it's not good, man.
Wow. Yeah.
We got some work to do.
I've been all over the map in the fitness world. A lot of times, if someone has a resting heart rate that high or HRV is low, is throwing in like two long, slow distance, like an hour long easy cardio session, does wonders for that. Like if I start seeing mine creep up, because I do track my HRV and my resting heart rate, if I can see
Yeah,
it start to creep up, I just go log like an hour, like 30 minutes to an hour, just steady state cardio, and it brings me right down. So just a
nice.
little. I don't know if you're already doing that or not, but
That's where the running's coming into, working on that. So we'll
yeah,
continue to track it. We'll continue to stack.
easy
And for
running.
any, that's it. That's it. That was my
Yeah.
problem though. I was so like trying to run balls to the wall after like 5 minutes.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how do people do this for an hour? It's completely different mindset getting into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, guys, if this episode lit a fire under you, if you're feeling inspired, don't let that fire burn out. Your next step is very simple. Join us in the Full Stack community on School. That's where conversations like this turn into breakthrough. It's easy to hop in. That link is in the show notes below. Go ahead and click it before life gets busy and you forget to follow up on that. Well, that's Mike. I'm Ted. Thanks again for checking out the Full Stack podcast.